Welcome to the Blaze Sports Institute for Applied Science. This is a CDSS Level 2 curriculum subject. And today we are going to be talking about goal setting for success. And I'm sure everyone here listening to this presentation has done some goal setting in their life. And most likely you focus on outcome goals, which is one of the reasons we do this session, so we can kind of talk about a holistic approach to goal setting and make sure everyone understands the different types of goals that you need to set in order to have a successful goal setting program. So as you look at the objectives, first of all, we want to make sure everyone understands the importance of goal setting in terms of achieving overall success. And then, of course, again, we're going to talk about three different categories of goals, and you might be surprised as to what they are. A lot of people can talk about different types of goals. We're going to focus on three. That doesn't mean they're the only types of goals, and as we get into it, you'll understand what I mean a little bit more. And then, of course, we're going to talk a little bit about collaborative goal setting between a coach and an athlete, or a coach and a team, or between athletes on a team, and discuss some of the importance of that dynamic. Want to make sure as we talk about goals, already mentioned outcome goals. The two other types of goals we're going to talk about within this session are process and performance goals, and really lay out a case so hopefully that those two types of goals are the goals you're really focusing on, and show you how they just ultimately lead to achieving the outcome goals. And we're going to talk a little bit about proper goal setting, just to make sure everyone's on the same page of some of the best practices in terms of goal setting. I love Yogi Berra, and a lot of people make fun of his sayings, but really there's a lot of deep wisdom in Yogiisms. And this one here, if you don't know where you're going, you might end up somewhere else. And I think that's a perfect description of why we need to have goal setting. If you don't know exactly where you want to end up, it's impossible to plan a pathway to get there. And if you kind of sort of think you might want to end up winning a championship, and you don't plan for it and you don't dedicate yourself to it, you're probably not going to end up raising that trophy at the end of the season, or achieving that time, or having fun in the process of just engaging in sport and or physical activity. What is goal setting? Well, it lays it right out there in black and white of what it is you want to achieve. And it helps you develop the process by which you're going to realize that achievement, and it provides the foundation for how you go about doing everything you're going to do within your training and competition season. It really lets you focus on the fundamentals and build a nice strong foundation on which to build, and peak at the right time of the season and give yourself the best opportunity to achieve those outcomes that we're all looking for. If done properly, it's going to give you a daily guide for decision making. It's going to make a lot of decisions very easy if you engage in a good goal setting plan and adhere to it. And it really, one of the things I really like about proper goal setting is it brings a lot of control back into the athlete, the coach, and the team, because there are a lot of people out there that really want to set your measures of success for you. And when you engage in goal setting, and it's something that's at the forefront of the thought process, you're setting those measures of success and everyone's buying into it, and you're not really worried about what mom, dad, brother, sister, friends are saying, what the crowd is saying, when you know what your measures of success are and whether or not you're achieving them, and if you don't achieve them, what you do need to do to achieve them, and if you did achieve them, what you're going to do next to set a new goal. This is just a nice little acronym to talk about, again, the best practices relative to setting goals. Goals should have SMARTs. They should be specific and positive. And when we say specific, an example would be an unspecific goal would be, I want to get faster. Well, a specific goal would be, I want to run the 100 meters in 11 seconds flat. Or I will run the 100 meters in 11 seconds flat. Positive. I am going to, we as a team, we are going to take care of the ball during this game. Positive, we'll have less than 5 turnovers. Not phrasing that goal in positive language would be, we don't want to turn the ball over. Now you're thinking about turning the ball over. You just want to make sure that your goals are specific and rooted in positive language. Measurable, again, you want to have a measure on there. I want to get faster. That's not measurable, really. I mean, it's okay, faster to what? I want to decrease my 100-meter time by 0.5 seconds within the next 30 days, and that kind of gets down to the timely achievable. want to make sure it's achievable. You don't want to set unrealistic goals that you have no chance of hitting. You want to make sure that you can get them, and of course you want to have short-term goals and long-term goals, but they want to be achievable within those time frames. And then as we get down to realistic, they need to be achievable with the resources that you have. Whereas you might be physically capable of achieving a goal, when we get down to realistic, do you have the resources to actually do it? Do you have the nutrition available? Do you have the strength and conditioning available? Do you have the facilities available? Do you have the coaching available? Do you have the time available to put in the training you need to achieve those goals? So it needs to be realistic, and you need to look at all the different resources that you need in order to achieve that goal and make sure that you have them at your ready. Timely, again, you can have short-term and long-term goals, but when you set a goal, it needs to be a date on it. And we talked about collaborative goal setting, and self-determined is very important. It's very easy for a coach at the beginning of a season, whether it's a coach of an individual athlete or a coach of a team, to dictate what the goals are going to be. And I'm sure that's worked for a number of people, but the issue arises, sport is hard, and it takes a lot of effort, it takes a lot of sacrifice, and in order to maintain a high performance level, you need to be sold out. You need to buy into what those goals are and the process by which you are achieving those goals. And in order to really do that and to be 100% committed, you have to be part of that goal-setting process. The goals have to be, in part, generated by the athlete and or the team. The coach can certainly have a say in that and guide that process, but if the goal isn't something that the athlete and or team really wants to achieve, it's probably not going to be achieved. So when we talk about collaborative goal setting, that's where we get into the self-determined, really make sure that the goals are ultimately coming from the athletes and it's what they want to commit to achieve, so that they can have that task cohesion, which could help lead to the group cohesion. We already talked about outcome goals. Everybody with outcome goals, we want to win the state championship. That's your outcome goal. That's the result of a competitive event. I want to win the race. I want to win the championship. I want to get the gold medal. What I offer within this presentation is I don't even look at outcome goals as goals. They're outcomes, and they are the result of properly setting and achieving process goals and performance goals. If you properly set, work towards, and achieve your process goals and performance goals, the outcomes will take care of themselves. So we'll get a little bit more into outcome goals in just a minute, but they have a use, but I really don't like utilizing the term goal with outcomes, because you're not doing anything different than the work you're going to do within achieving your process and performance goals in order to achieve those outcome goals. They're really there to be a motivator for you when the going gets tough, to create that visualization, that imagery of that achievement to help keep you motivated when things get really tough or get hard and you have to make a decision between going to Dairy Queen or going to the gym. Performance goals define the path to your final destination per Yogi Berra. And one of the focuses on performance goals is relative improvement. And you're always judging improvement based on your own performance or your team's performance, not other people's performance. You can't affect what other people are doing. You don't have control over that. You have control over yourself. The process goals are the down and dirty work. Those are the day-to-day goals that you're going to set. They're going to keep you on track. They're going to allow you to achieve your performance goals, which in turn allow you to achieve your outcome goals. That's I'm going to engage in a strength and conditioning workout 5 times a week, breaking it down to what your goals are within that strength and conditioning workout. I will get 8 hours of sleep every night. I will eat right. And then being specific as to what eating right is, your breakdown of fats, carbs, proteins, how many times a day you're going to eat. Really just getting down in the nitty-gritty of everything you're going to do in order to help you achieve those outcomes you're looking for. We talked a little bit about measures of success, and I love Coach K, I love Coach Wooden, and I love Yogi Berra's sayings. But Coach K and Coach Wooden are two coaches, two of the winningest coaches in NCAA history yet, particularly with Coach Wooden. He will say that you will never find one of his players that ever heard him talk about winning. He talked about continual improvement. Coach K the same way, and this is a great example. Your definition of success should have more depth than the equivalent of winning a national championship. It should be whatever passion moves you deep in your heart. And that gets back to that collaborative goal setting and self-determined goal setting. When you tap into that passion deep in your heart, it's not work anymore. You enjoy the process. And when you enjoy the process, engaging those process goals is going to be that much easier. You're going to put that much more effort into it, which is going to help you achieve your performance goals, which is going to help you achieve the outcomes you're looking for. Breaking down each of the categories a little bit, the characteristics of outcome goals. Again, they serve a purpose when used in conjunction with process and performance goals. Unfortunately, a lot of times it's the only type of goals that athletes and coaches use. And when it is used as the only type of goal, it can have a negative impact on performance. And we see that a lot of times in end-game situations when an athlete chokes. And of course, the definition of choking is when an athlete performs differently in a pressure situation than they would perform normally. So that would be a 95% free throw shooter clunking 2 free throws when they're down by 1 point at the end of the game. And what this is saying is when one of the things that could contribute to that is if an athlete's focusing on, oh, what if I don't make these 2 free throws? We're going to lose the game. My teammates are going to be mad. My friends are going to be mad. My school's going to be mad. They're focusing on the outcome goal, and then, of course, one step further, the negative potential outcome, and they're not focused on the task at hand and just relaxing and doing the same thing they've done thousands and thousands and thousands of times of going through that free throw motion, which the statistics say they should make both. So that's how outcome goals could potentially actually hurt a performance. Also, outcome goals aren't in complete control of the athlete, team, or coach. The other competitors are going to have something to do with it. If your outcome is to win the Paralympic gold medal in the 100 meters and you run the 100 meters in a personal record and you break the world record, but the person in the lane next to you beats you and sets a world record, that's out of your control. You achieved your goals. You broke the world record. You ran the fastest you'd ever run, but it was just not quite good enough that time. So that outcome goal wasn't within your control. Your performance goal really was. Your performance goals could have been to run that PR, which is the fastest you've ever run, and you achieved that, but the athlete next to you did just a little bit better. Not as flexible as process and performance goal. The outcome goals are pretty concrete. Either win or you lose. Their outcomes are the result of competitive events. So it's not like a performance goal where you could set a goal of decreasing your 100-meter time by 0.2 of a second over a 6-week window, and you get to 6 weeks and you've only decreased it by 0.15 of a second. So you're 0.05 of a second away from that goal. You can adjust that. Give yourself 2 more weeks to achieve it because you've made significant progress. You're 3/4 of the way there. So that's flexible with performance goals. And again, as we talked about, can lead to performance deficits in pressure situations. Here's just some examples of outcome goals. Qualify for the regional tournament, qualify for the national tournament rather, by winning the Whitewater Regional Tournament. That's a wheelchair basketball specific goal for junior teams within the National Wheelchair Basketball Association. But what would be some of the other sport-related outcome goals within your sport? Just think about that for a minute and put this on pause and write a few outcome goals down that would either be for you or your athlete or your teams. Talked about John Wooden. Success comes from knowing that you did your best to become the best that you were capable of becoming. And that was his mantra, personal improvement, become the best person you can be, and everything else kind of takes care of itself. And that's really what process and performance goal setting and achievement of those goals leads to, is you're going to become the best that you can possibly become, that your team can possibly become, and you cannot expect anything more than that. You cannot expect to do more than be the best you're capable of becoming with the resources that you have at hand, whether it's financial, facility, physical, mental. When you've maxed those out and you've achieved your highest level, you have to be proud of that, because that is an awesome feat. And again, Coach K, when our goal is to try to do our best, when our focus is on preparation and sacrifice and effort instead of numbers on the scoreboard, we will never lose. Now, of course, he doesn't mean they're never going to lose a game, but what he means is they're constantly going to be improving. They're constantly going to be getting closer to their ultimate potential. Now, when you have the most talent around you that works the best together around you and you reach your ultimate potential, you're going to win a lot of championships. But only one team can win the championship at the end of the year. So if everybody only focuses on championships, there's a lot of people that are going to fail. So you have to look at it a little bit differently in order to keep people positive and motivated and understanding the achievements that they're really making. There's a lot of achievement that happens throughout a season that goes unnoticed simply because people aren't focusing on those the achievement of those process and performance goals. Little performance goals as opposed to outcome goals, much more controllable by the coach and athlete, and we kind of talked about that, how you can adjust those goals if you're just not quite coming up short, or if you set one that ultimately you find out isn't achievable. You know, I want a good one would be, I am going to reduce my 100-meter time by 1 second in 6 months. Well, that, if you're already pretty competitive, that's probably not really realistic unless it's an equipment issue. If you are a wheelchair racer, or if you are an amputee on a prosthetic, if you're an experienced athlete, that may not be achievable, and that's going to pan out as you get closer to that goal and you're finding that you're improving, but the increments are just too small, and that may have been just a stretch goal that you're not going to achieve. So you can reset that goal to bring it back down into reality. And just the example I used before, where you possibly set the goal of winning a Paralympic gold medal in a 100-meter race, and you set a PR, you break the world record, and the opponent actually beats you and beats the world record by even more. Well, what if you're that athlete? How about the athlete that set their PR and broke the world record pushing you a little bit so that you could even actually achieve a little bit more? That happens quite often in individual sports. More easily and precisely adjusted, again, just going back to that example of decreasing 100-meter time within a specific time frame. You can really get down and dirty in adjusting goals such as that. And the beautiful thing about performance goals is you can achieve them in practice and competition. A lot of individual sports that's a little bit easier for. If you think about a track and field athlete that throws a shot put, if you're trying to hit a mark of, I don't know, 15 meters, and you have a time frame for that, and you're in practice and you hit 15 meters, well, you hit it. You know, you don't have to wait for competition to achieve a performance goal. You can do it in training. An example team performance goal, and when we think about that outcome goal, win the regional qualifying tournament, well, what are some performance goals that you need to achieve in order to win that regional tournament? Well, looking at the competition, you may set the goals that you have to make 75% or more of your free throws as a team, shoot 50% or more from the floor, have less than 6 unforced turnovers, so you're taking care of your ball, hold the opponent to under 40% shooting from the floor, have more than 10 second chance points, have a greater rebounding differential, a 10 or more rebounding differential, have the bench score 10 or more points. These are just some performance goals that are measurable that could lead to putting yourself in position to win that regional tournament. So again, go ahead and put this on pause and think about your sport, and make a little list of 5 to 7 performance goals that you would need to have in order to achieve that outcome goal that you wrote down a little bit earlier. John Wooden again, Coach Wooden, it's the little details that are vital. Little things make big things happen, and this leads us right into process goals. Again, the dirty grind, the daily grind, stepping stones to achieving those performance goals. It's where you plan the work and work the plan. This is where you really create your automaticity. So no matter what sport you're engaged in, it takes cognitive effort. And the more you work through your process goals, the more that you just go through repetition, whether it's physical skills or decision-making skills, they become automatic. And that's what can help put you in the zone where your mind is free to not be cluttered with information processing, that you can just read and react to the situation at hand. And as you engage in these process goals and achieve these process goals, you're going to become more and more confident as you continue to achieve your performance goals, and that's where your self-efficacy and your confidence just starts to go through the roof, and it just creates a great positive cycle where really great things start to happen for you. Example of a performance goal, or excuse me, a process goal. I should say process goal, or the performance goal. That's correct. Make we said we needed to make more than 75% of our free throws in order to win a wheelchair basketball regional tournament. Well, what is the process? What are the process goals to achieve that free throw percentage? Well, 100 consecutive free throws per day, and that'll help you develop consistent form. Shoot 100 game-like free throws in a day to help make sure you're shooting in a fatigued state, because it's very rare that you shoot free throws fresh within a game, so you want to make sure you're shooting game-like free throws every day. And that's very important to chart those results to see if you're improving or not improving, and also to be able to just take a step back and reflect. Was my form consistent? Was I focused on what I was doing? Was I just going through the motions? Did I feel bad that day? Did I feel good that day? You really want to reflect on whether or not on what your state of mind, state of body, environment was when you have a relatively good performance or relatively bad performance, and see what the differences are so you can take note of that and adapt in the future. So putting this all together, you do need to have, it's good to have the outcomes, quote-unquote, goals, because it does provide that imagery of what you're going through all this work to achieve. But it needs to be done in combination with the performance and process goals to have a complete goal-setting program. And you need to know when to focus on each categories of goals. Again, outcome goals, great short-term motivator, great way to get over that hump, great way to make that decision to go to the gym rather than Dairy Queen, but it's not what you should be focusing on during competition. But your outcomes can be a really good measure of success of your process and performance goal-setting plans. Again, performance goals can be adjusted up or down, and you can change your process goals accordingly to achieve those performance goals. And really, the performance goals are what's going to help you achieve your ultimate potential. You know, you set those process goals, you achieve your performance goals, and the outcomes are going to be there. Process goals, you can learn new skills, maintain focus, develop awareness, develop your decision-making skills, and it's something that really just sets your routine for every day, every week. That's really what it comes down to, relative to how you're going to live, how you're going to act, how you're going to train. That all gets back to your process goals and helps create the confidence and automaticity so that you can just operate in a zone-like state as often as possible. This is just a nice little chart. We have process goals are the foundation of our goal setting plan, and that leads up to our performance goals, which leads up to our outcomes. And as you go up that process, as you go up the pyramid, the process goals are going to help you achieve self-efficacy and more confidence. As you achieve your performance goals, you're going to achieve peak performance, which is going to result in achieving your desired results, your desired outcomes, which again is going to motivate you, which is going to help you put even more effort in the process. So as you can see, it's just a never-ending cycle that feeds on itself. And when you get a chink in the armor and maybe not achieving like you should, you need to take a step back and think about, okay, are my process goals, and one, am I working my plan? You know, I plan my work, but am I working my plan? Start there. And if, yeah, that's working, go up to your performance goals. Okay, I'm not achieving my performance goals. Are they realistic goals? Well, maybe they're not realistic. We need to come back a little bit. Maybe I need to try to find this resource to help me do this one more thing. So it really is a good way to keep a dynamic evaluation of everything that you've got going on and determine if all the little pieces are in place for you to achieve your ultimate goals. So really, the big thing that I would like you to take from this this session is to really think about centering your coaching philosophy and goal-setting program on the basis of continual improvement through the achievement of performance and process goals, and really taking time and effort to plan out proper process and performance goals that will help you achieve those desired outcomes that you, your athletes, your teams are looking for and ready to commit to. And this is something that I started doing about 6 years ago and saw saw some really great success the first 3-4 months of the season, that we really went hog wild into utilizing this philosophy. Was a little bit tough. I started to question whether or not it was really the right way to go, and then all of a sudden we got a couple good wins. We had started the season with an adult team in the championship division of the National Wheelchair Basketball Association, unranked. We broke into the top 20 before Christmas, and then by the end of the season we were the 7th ranked team in the country. And I attribute a lot to just this philosophy that we utilized and got buy-in from the athletes. Had a great group of athletes, could never have done it without the athletes we had, and their ability and willingness to buy into this philosophy, which sounded really crazy to them when I started the season out. Said, you know what, we're not going to worry about winning. All we're going to care about is setting our process goals, setting our performance goals, and making sure that we're continually improving as a team. And if we fall back a little bit, evaluating why that happened and correct it and get better the next time. And for 6 years, 6 years, it's really lent itself to a really positive program where we have athletes that just really enjoy engaging in the sport, and has resulted in a lot of great success. So I'm confident that if you buy into this, that you'll have that same type of success as well, no matter what sport you're involved in. And along with that, just take pride in the measures of success that are defined by that continual improvement and performance enhancement, because again, you're going to reach that ultimate goal eventually. You keep hitting those foundational goals. And the big thing, we all know this, why do people continue to engage in sport physical activity programs? Because it's fun. And I really believe that this philosophy relative to goal setting and coaching towards continual improvement lends itself to allow a lot more people to enjoy that process and have fun and commit to it and stick with it. That's it. Thank you for your time. I hope you enjoyed the session.